Hello, lovely souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Infinity, and this is Magnetize Official, where we dive into topics like life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we're doing a special reading and energy update for all you beautiful people watching. I'm not sure what messages will come through today. I'm just going to trust the cards and follow the energy that wants to flow. Let's see what messages are ready to come through for our amazing community. Here we go. Thank you for being part of this community. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the energy oracle cards. We were just channeling from things that came through when I was meditating in the morning. So, we'll see what happens in this reading. I didn't have quite the same experience in my meditation today. Nothing really specific came through to share with all of you, so I'm just going to let the cards and the energy guide the reading today. With that being said, if you have a personal intention for the reading, anything that you would personally like insight on, you can transmit that intention energetically, however it feels best for you. Of course, this is all an energy thing, so you can even just think or meditate on those intentions, speak them out loud, write them in the comments section, or jot them down in a notebook. Whatever feels right for you. It's very interesting to me, because last night I had a really vivid dream. I wasn't even going to share it, because it was such a strange dream, but I feel it's actually symbolic for our collective here. Specifically, I believe this is going to be symbolic for the divine feminine collective. I'm getting so many chills right now. For the divine feminine listening, your life looks very unconventional. It breaks the chain. It breaks the pattern in so many ways. I'm getting that. At times, you question yourself because you are living by the heart, by the soul, and by your intuition. But as a result, your life looks very different from the generations that came before you. I'm hearing that you've been guided into this path because you are healing patterns and dynamics that have plagued your family line. Patterns that have been running through generations. You've been the first one to stand up and say, no. This is not going to continue. This is going to look different. I'm hearing that a major way your life looks unconventional is that it doesn't follow the same pattern or timeline that so many before you followed. There's something very specific about timing. So yes, you may have certain dreams, goals, or desires, some of which might even mirror the hopes of generations before you. But the difference is, you are achieving them in an entirely new way. You are following your intuition in the fulfillment of these dreams. You are not giving in to time pressure. One example that came to mind, and this won't be for everyone, is around your marriage and family situation, specifically when it comes to having children. For some of you, you may already have children, and there may be a difference in how you chose to parent or how you're choosing to parent compared to generations prior. It's like you're doing some of the same things, but you're doing them very differently. I also received a message for a very specific group, those who have not yet had children, may not be married or were married, and are now separated or divorced. I'm getting messages around how you may hold some of the same desires when it comes to, for example, children or marriage. Maybe it's something you imagine you'd like to manifest one day, something you'd like to have or experience. But unlike generations before you, You are going about creating this according to your intuition, I'm hearing according to the energy flow. It's like you're following this higher energy in your life, leading you into the manifestation of these things. You're not giving in to time pressure or to society-placed time limitations, those artificial constructs that aren't even real, but that become real when we internalize them, when we adopt or adapt to them. I don't know why that was coming through so specifically, but it felt important to share. I just feel that, around marriage and family, someone here is doing something unconventional, or really going about things in their own timing and in their own way. So whatever it is, whether it relates to marriage, family, or something else entirely, I'm picking up that you are using your voice to break chains generationally, to break free from prior patterns and dynamics. And I know I mentioned the dream earlier, but I never really got into it. The dream I had was this. I was walking around the corner in my living space, near the kitchen. As I walked around the corner, I saw this shadowy figure. Of course, this was all in the astral. This was all happening in my dream. As I came closer, I felt a bit of hesitation. It was strange because I recognized this figure. I felt like I had seen it in dreams before, maybe even run from it or felt afraid of it. But this time, something was different. This time, something overpowered the fear. I wasn't just a little hesitant or a little afraid. I felt a strong sense of determination to get rid of this thing, to push it out of my space. So I faced it head on. It turned to look at me, and it had this horrific-looking face. I just remember yelling at it to leave, to get out. It screamed back at me, but I kept using my voice, commanding it to leave, to be gone. And then, it just vanished. It's interesting because when I woke up this morning, my literal voice was actually the strongest it had been in days. I also had a couple of other dream sequences, and in all of them, I found myself in situations where I was using my voice in a really bold, confident way, even in a confrontational way, to push back against something that felt like it was infringing on me, whether emotionally or, in the case of that strange being, infringing on my literal space. And of course, I've been saging my space every day this week. I don't usually sage daily, but even before this dream, I felt a strong intuitive nudge to clear the energy in my living space. So, I feel all of this ties into a collective message, especially for the divine feminines. What I received, my interpretation of the dream, is that the shadowy figure represents an energy that has been present in your family line for generations. It's not necessarily a person or even a specific spirit or being. It's an energy, one of manipulation, control, silencing, and pressure. I'm hearing the word haunting. It's almost like this energetic imprint has been running through your family line, showing up in ways that push up against your sense of self, your voice, your truth. It seeks to silence you or pressure you into conformity. And metaphorically speaking, just like how this figure felt familiar in the dream, something I used to run from, I'm hearing that you may also be facing something in your life that feels familiar, something you used to shy away from, avoid, or just live around without directly confronting it. But now, something's shifted. Your willpower, your deep desire to be free of this pattern, is stronger than the fear. You're standing up to it, and the moment you use your voice, the moment you speak out and tell that fear, that energy, that old pattern, "You're not mine. You do not belong in my life. You do not belong in my family. You do not belong in this home. That's the moment it loses its grip. It's almost like it's not going to be symbolically present in your family's environment or space, whether that's literal or emotional. And the moment you use your voice to command it to leave, it's like you're free of it. The whole time, it was just waiting for you to face it head on and decide that you were going to do something different, that you were going to be free of it. It's interesting because many of you have been commenting that on the other side of this throat thing I've been dealing with this week, I'll probably notice my voice is stronger. And I think you're right, because you've possibly experienced something similar, like a throat chakra activation, either in the past, recently, or you're sensing it happening collectively. I feel those comments have been very true, and that this is a collective thing happening for many divine feminines right now. You're reaching, and I say this all the time, but it goes deeper each time. You're reaching an even deeper layer of your own voice, meaning your truth, your authentic self, and, I'm hearing, your ability to confront, with confidence and yet with love. It's like I see you entering this era of your life where you're not afraid to confront. You might be someone who, in the past, considered yourself to be very non-confrontational. But now, you're entering a space where, especially when it comes to protecting your space, literally, emotionally, energetically, your dreams, your ideas, your vision, yourself, you have this beautiful fierceness about you. You're not afraid to stand your ground. You're not afraid to hold your boundaries. You're not afraid to push back when something is infringing on your space. Whatever that means for you, however you personally interpret that. And what's wild is, as I was about to speak on all of this, I shuffled the cards, and at the bottom of the deck, the throat chakra card. So I really feel like my guides are stepping in here to confirm so much of what's been coming through in this reading. And along with that, I was also receiving a lot of messages around home and family. For some of you, of course, this may be the family you've chosen, your soul tribe that you're starting to physically connect with, really good friends, or a community around you. But for many of you, I feel this may be your literal family. Whether you have children or not, this could involve siblings, parents, or even ancestors who have passed on. Again, this also could be your chosen family, people you've soul connected with in this lifetime, your community. But in any case, I was picking up very strongly that you are an anchor for some kind of family or community. Somehow, I really feel as though your energy creates this net, or umbrella, of protection, of positive energy, of support that radiates outward to those around you. Now, of course, we are all the conscious creators of our own realities. Yes, that's always true. So, it's not that you are literally creating within other people's realities, but the sense is that you are a beacon. I kept receiving imagery of you being like an anchor, a beacon, a lighthouse. And what all of those symbols have in common is this. They're something stationary, something grounded, performing a role that stabilizes or illuminates what's nearby. And while you cannot control or create in someone else's world, I see you as this massive, energetic influence, a positive presence in the lives of those connected to you. I've talked about this before, but it feels worth repeating because it's coming up again so clearly in the collective. People tend to experience good luck, or what they perceive as blessings, just as a byproduct of being connected to you. For some reason, I heard promotions. Maybe you've specifically noticed that people who meet you or connect with you get promoted in the workplace, are elevated to leadership positions, or experience good things that seem to happen spontaneously. This is not happenstance. This is a direct result of being connected to your energy, especially when these blessings begin to manifest completely out of the blue after meeting or connecting with you. I'm hearing that there's something about your energy because you truly are a natural-born leader, whether you've chosen to actively embrace that role in a conscious way in the physical realm yet, or whether you're still sitting with that knowing, which is perfectly okay too. You know you're a leader, but maybe you don't yet know exactly where you want to grant or bless your energy within that leadership position. Because your energy is a blessing, and of course, it's right to be selective about where and how you share it. But I feel that at this point, whether you're consciously exercising those leadership abilities or not, you've come into the realization that you really are a leader. You're someone people naturally gravitate toward. You're someone they look to for guidance, for advice, for strength. And what I'm getting is, because you are this leader, it's almost like people who connect with you are naturally elevated or positioned into leadership roles themselves. The higher-ups around them, or the people in their lives, are sensing your leadership energy through them. It's like that thread of your essence is running through the people you're connected to, and it subtly influences the way others perceive and respond to them. Now, I know I said we were going to pull more cards and not get into downloads. I didn't even realize I had received this many, but I did jot a few things down. I hadn't even thought of them as downloads at the time. I was just writing a few notes during meditation. And now, it's interesting because all of it is beginning to tie together. Some of these things I thought were just for my private journal. I didn't really think they were meant to be shared, like the dream. But for some reason, I felt like that needed to be shared. So, okay. There's something else I want to talk about around this, around you being this leader. And I'm hearing silent leader. So there are certain people, entities, or groups that may not yet fully recognize you in this leadership position consciously. And I'm getting the word unsuspecting because there's something about you that's unsuspecting. Like, maybe it's interesting. I'm getting some static in my microphone. Okay, it's gone. Whenever that happens, I always think of it symbolically. Like you're getting static or interference. Something creating energetic static or interference. Interesting. Maybe we'll circle back to that. But what I got is, there's a part of you that's seeking guidance or seeking information. And that's a beautiful thing, because I feel you are this eternal student. You have the mindset of someone who wants to be perpetually learning, growing, expanding. And I'm hearing, because you have the mindset of an eternal student, you really are the teacher. You really are the guide. You are the leader. That's actually what makes you not just adequate, but phenomenal. Now, for some reason when I say that, I'm picking up on someone kind of doubting it. Like, am I really that much of a leader? Maybe because you've always been more of the quiet type, someone who downplays themselves or prefers to let others take the lead. But I'm hearing this message is especially for you if you've ever felt that way. Your guides are saying, think back on the times when, Even if you've stayed quiet, even if you tried to let others lead, didn't people always end up gravitating toward you anyway? Didn't they still look to you for advice, for guidance? Didn't they still ultimately see you as the true leader of the group? For some reason, I keep seeing someone doing a group project, like in high school, college, or even at work. And I feel like you're the one where maybe you're not immediately selected as the leader, or maybe you are in some cases, but for many of you, you kind of silently let other people take the lead, while you're actually the one doing the work, stabilizing the whole group dynamic behind the scenes. At the end of the day, you might be the one they turn to when it comes to presenting the final product, organizing the information, or assembling everything. Because you are the true leader, even if you weren't recognized as such at the beginning. I don't know. Maybe that's symbolic for something going on in your life right now. What I'm getting is that yes, you might be looking for information, but the visualization I wrote down earlier came back to me. I saw someone reading, and then I heard a voice say, "There are libraries of information within you." Now, that's not to say that reading or absorbing external knowledge isn't a positive thing, because it absolutely is when you feel guided to it. But the sense I got was that someone is almost forcing themselves to gather external knowledge. Like someone who feels this intuitive knowing, this natural leadership or expertise within, but still feels like they need to prove it, by backing it up with something external, something created by someone else. In this vision, the person went to a library, piling up books and diving into study, trying to catch up or validate what they already know at a soul level. And what I heard was, you're trying to learn what your soul already knows. It's so interesting because I'm picking up that you are someone who naturally holds wisdom, deep, ancient knowledge, at a soul level. And you're either just beginning to realize that, or you're learning to trust it. You might not even fully understand how you know certain things, but you just do. You just do things naturally. It's like you enter a space and suddenly you seem to be this expert. Maybe others look to you as that expert or as a guide in that space, and you start experiencing success there. But then you find yourself thinking, wait, I need to back this up with concrete knowledge, with facts, with pre-written information. But I feel the guidance coming in. Of course, if your intuition is really guiding you to seek out that knowledge, that can be a beautiful thing. However, the sense I'm getting for someone I'm tuning into specifically is that you start going down that rabbit hole of trying to absorb this information, and tension builds within you. As you read books, you think, I feel like not only do I already know this, but I also understand it at a higher energetic level than what's being written here. It's almost like you're trying to re-enter a course you've already graduated from, but you never actually learned all of that concrete knowledge. I know this is speaking to a very quantum level, but it's interesting because I feel like your soul has activated you to an exponential level of mastery in something, and now you're being guided to share that with others. But there's a part of your human self wondering, do I need to be more qualified in human terms? And the answer is, you have soul qualifications. That's the best way I can describe it. Whether those qualifications come from past life experiences, and yes, that's probably the case, or from something deeper, You have access to this vast inner knowledge. What you're actually doing is peeling back layers that have kept you unnaturally blocked from this energetic information that everyone has access to within themselves. This is the training you've been going through. It's been allowing you to access a deep reservoir of what I keep calling energetic information, deep soul wisdom that carries a particular resonance, a frequency. Because you can access that frequency, that resonance, you can now share it with others through what you're doing, creating, or simply being in the world. And that's why you are, or soon will be, attracting this success. You have the soul qualifications. You don't need all of those external rungs of a ladder. Most people have to climb the rungs of a ladder in a linear way, developing and amassing, that's the word, all of this literal information on something that you just naturally know how to do. It's kind of like the equivalent of someone training for decades to play the piano. And then the difference between that and one of those rare cases where there's a child prodigy born, just drawn to the piano and knowing how to play intuitively. Maybe they don't even know how to read music, but they can hear something once and then play it, because they have this soul memory of knowing how to play it. That's what I feel you're coming into. You have this soul-deep knowing of how to do something, but you didn't learn it in the classical way, and you don't need to learn it in the classical way. It doesn't make you, just like that child prodigy, any less of an expert for knowing, innately and intuitively, how to do something, just because you didn't follow the same path to it as most people did. So, if you're feeling led into something, feeling called, or being nudged, something that's really been coming up in the last couple of weeks is this concept of soul nudges. Your soul is nudging you in certain directions. Those are the most powerful steps to take, to follow through on those soul nudges, because that's what leads you into these quantum leap moments we've been describing here. These are moments where you experience a kind of success, accolade, or accomplishment that for most people may take years or decades to learn and achieve. But for you, you're not living by their timelines or their standards. You're following your own path, your soul path. And because you aren't living by their standards, you aren't bound by their limitations. Wow, that felt like a really powerful message for someone. So, I'm going to repeat it. Because you aren't living by their standards, you are not bound by their limitations. So, I'm hearing, have the confidence to move forward in this soul-led, heart-directed path. Don't feel the need to prove what your soul already knows by trying to go back into courses your soul has already graduated from, or trying to do them in the logical or linear way just to meet some kind of societal standard that was artificially created anyway. This message felt really personal to me, but I feel it's collective as well. You may be going through something that feels very counterintuitive, that almost feels like you're being put on pause or being forced to slow down, or it almost feels like a setback. But I feel that your guides want you to know this is actually an activation in some way. I keep seeing another layer of something being peeled back, to allow you to shine even brighter and even more visibly and impactfully on a global level. So, that feels like a really beautiful place to close the reading. Of course, if I resonate with you, I would love to have you here on the channel. So, feel free to subscribe. You can also leave me a comment, If you have any thoughts you'd like to share with our community, or if you'd like to share how something here connected with you in a personal way. But otherwise, if you're leaving here, then I hope something today connected with you meaningfully. I am so proud of you for being on this journey. I'm truly grateful to have you here, and very grateful for this whole community we're building. There are so many powerful collective shifts and changes taking place. It's exciting just being a part of it. Wishing you a beautiful, wonderful weekend, and I'll connect with you again in next reading.